The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. Sign up with our code TCSGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit bonus up to $250 in cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Royal Retros. Royal Retros has jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, and sweatshirts from all the old school teams that you love. Use promo code SGPN for 10% off your order today. That's code SGPN at royalretros.com. And it is showtime. Welcome back everybody to the college baseball experience. Butchered my intro there. What's going on? It is Noah Bieniek, aka 77, hosting tonight. We were planning on doing Colby and myself, but I am recording this at 3:10 in the morning Eastern time. This is beginning to become a very, very annoying theme. DraftKings isn't releasing odds for whatever reason until very, very late at nights right now for some unknown reason. And just the way that I am hosting the show, I choose games that I think are pretty close in odds. I don't want to choose a handful of games that are in the minus 200s because personally, I don't feel like that's good content, like stuff to be providing analysis on, especially if I don't know the odds and then I feel pretty good about a side and then it just comes out and I just don't agree with the price and I wouldn't back it at that certain point. So it's just really frustrating that it's not even just DraftKings. Honestly, like DraftKings is the one that gets all the heat because they're the ones that originate in the market, but it's every other sports book out there could start to originate. They could drop odds whenever they want and they would get action. They might not know it as well as some other guys around Vegas or wherever the bookmakers may live for online sports books, but you're going to get some money. You're like, if you release first to the market when DraftKings is sitting on their hands, then you release first and we can make content from it. That's the main thing for me, is getting this out ASAP so I can go to bed at a reasonable time, one, but two, it's so I can get it out overnight and have it ready for people when they wake up, when they get in their car, drive to work in the morning, or if they just start looking at this themselves. So yeah, really frustrating. But I mean, we've got to move forward with this. We do have one game where I think the price is completely off and it is in the 200s. So that's why I included it here today. But I feel like I was going to talk about something else and it's now off of my mind because of the rant that I was just on. But let's just jump right into the games. Let's not waste any time. It's going to be probably a 45-minute episode, I'm hoping. I've selected 10 series, and then last week I completely skipped the back portion of what I usually do each and every week, is go over some of the like most interesting series that don't have betting odds, mainly because I just wanted to get out there at a reasonable time, and it was already over an hour, and I was just thinking, get out, make it a short show. So yeah, I have a list again of interesting games that are compelling conference regular season races that we will talk about at the end. I also skipped out on my 11.7 series pick'em picks last week as well. Half by design, half by not. I mean, I'm in the top 6 of that contest right now, 4 games back. And I don't really, this is the point that really sucks because now I have to kind of leverage my picks, and it's really just I have to pick some games that the people in front of me are not going to pick. So it's not truthfully what I think is going or who I think is going to win those games anymore. It was for the first 12 weeks, and now it is becoming, a leverage game against the field. And I've always done like one of those games per week, but now I really have to do like 4 or 5 in order to try to jump into the top spot, because I think last year they did like monthly winners and then also top 3 got a prize or something. This year it's just a one and done. That's not the correct term for it, but it's basically like a circuit contest where just the winner takes everything home. So that's where I'm at with that. You can look at 11.7's social media or online. You see me on the leaderboard. That's what I'm dealing with there. But we've got 2 games beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. This one actually is 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Mountain time zone because it's taking place in Utah. There must be some weather that they're expecting later on in the day here. Arizona at Utah. This is the first place team in the Pac-12 against the second place team in the Pac-12. The Wildcats are minus 175 in this one. Utah plus 135 here at Smith's Ballpark. Starting for Arizona here is Jackson Kent, the sophomore southpaw, 3-1 with a 2.88 ERA, 78 strikeouts, 22 walks, and 72 innings pitched with a 3.13 Sierra. And going for Utah is Bryson Van Sickle, the senior left-hander. He's 3-1 with a 3 ERA, 50 strikeouts, 16 walks, and 71.1 innings with a 4.08 Sierra. Arizona's weekend bullpen ERA, 4.34. It's solid. Same with Utah's. It's 5.13. Both offenses pretty average. 100 WRC plus for Arizona, 104 for Utah. Arizona's team OPS 837. Utah's 827. Utah, though, at home this season, they're 16-6. Arizona on the road, 12-10. And for me, definitely in the first game here of the weekend at altitude, give me Utah at the plus money. It's plus 135 with their ace on the mound. And Arizona's staff right now, like, it's all about the stuff. It's about the movement. It's about like their pitch shapes with the improvements that they've made in their pitching department. Right now, Utah, this staff pitches to contact, and they do it very, very well. Arizona's not going to kill them with a long ball, in my opinion, at least. Sure, the altitude, it might bump up some Arizona power hitting that they usually are kind of middle of the road with. However, I think game 1, it's kind of like when you travel out to Colorado to play the Rockies. Game 1, you usually want to take the Rockies if they have already had like a home series, if you know what I mean. So I like Utah in this game at plus 135. The other 1 o'clock game is Kentucky minus 130 at Florida, who's plus 100. This is at Condren Family Ballpark there in Gainesville, Florida. Kentucky's going to start Trey Poozer. He's a grad senior right-hander, 3-1 on the year, 3.88 ERA, 52 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 53.1 innings with a 3.74 Sierra. And going for Florida is Pierce Coppola. He's a senior left-hander, 0-2 on the season. He's only pitched 6 innings. He's got a 10.15 ERA, though. In those 6 innings, he's got 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. So he's walking 1 batter every 2 innings, and his Sierra is solid. It's a 2.46. However, I mean, it's just a small sample size. So the small sample size, from what I've seen, the stuff plays, and it's really fun to watch. He pitched well against Tennessee. I'm kind of frustrated with Coach O'Sullivan here. This was the weekend that you needed to flip around this weekend rotation. You have a chance to beat Kentucky because Kentucky just knocked off Arkansas last weekend. This is just a classic letdown weekend. And in my opinion, Coppola is just not the guy that's going to get it done. One, because you still don't have him stretch out to go 5-6 innings in a game. And the bullpen right now is the biggest question mark that you have. So in game 1, why overextend yourself with the pen? I was texting my guy, Matt Grissom of the NCAA Insiders, College Baseball Insiders. I would have flipped Jack Caglione this week to Friday. That's what I would have done personally. Either way, you want him starting game 1 in a regional. That way, if worse comes to shove, you can have the opportunity of pitching Jack twice in a weekend in a regional if you go from Friday to Monday. You have to make that switch at some point, And I thought the logical time to do it would have been this weekend, because you also can start CAGs next Friday and then 4 days of rest, normal MLB rest. Start them in Wednesday, the one and done game in the SEC tournament. That's when you need to win the game most, because you might be, if you lose that game, you might be a 500 team and then you don't qualify for the NCAA tournament. I don't understand why Coppola is pitching on Friday. Again, one, because it doesn't slate them up to best to win this game on Friday. Two, because it doesn't slate them up to win the series, because I think Florida's got a shot. It's an amazing spot after Kentucky just knocks off Arkansas in a weekend series last weekend. It's an amazing spot. And I can't get behind Florida winning game one. I just can't. I can't put my money, my trust behind this pitching staff. Coppola is only going to go 3 or 4 innings. The bullpen, 5.52 weekend ERA. Kentucky's got a better bullpen, 4.51. Their offense has been better this season too. A 915 team OPS, 119 WRC plus, and they're 15-4 on the road. Florida's been average this year. That's just what it's been. They're 17-12 at home. The only games they've really been winning is with Jack Caglione on the mound. You needed him to throw on Friday, in my opinion. 888 team OPS for the Gators, 110 WRC plus. I think my gut tells me that Florida wins this series. I can't pick out what game they steal in game 1 or game 2, and I think they win with Caglione on the mound against Mason Moore in game 3. That's my take on this game, on this series, and we're going to move on. Are you a hardcore baseball fan or just a degenerate sitting in an office looking for some afternoon action? Either way, you'll want to make sure to tune in and subscribe to the MLB Gambling Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. The college baseball experience is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and the NBA playoffs are here, and they want to make it a lot more fun for you. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog is available in 30-plus states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Personally, I was writing nightly articles in the college basketball season, hitting at 62%. When you're doing that at a good clip, it's a lot of fun. So trust me, Underdog, it's available in 30-plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also just launched their Champions, which is their player versus player format in Florida. And guys, in Michigan, Underdog drafting is live. So now you can play best ball. You can draft fantasy football teams on Underdog. The pick'em, not yet. They're trying to legalize still in our state. But, hey, the state of Michigan has allowed Underdog best ball back, because it used to be like 2 or 3 years ago. Can't remember. But now it's legal again. Underdog Fantasy is good to go. You can sign up in Michigan. Use our code TCESGPN to claim your first-time deposit up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. Okay, we're back here on the college baseball experience. We've got 8 more series that I'm going to run through here. This one's slated for 5:30 p.m. start time. Again, I think they're expecting a little bit of weather in the southeast Atlantic coast region here. Georgia at South Carolina. We saw this game Thursday night, just absolutely bonkers. There was 11 runs scored in the first 3 innings. It finished like 17 or 14-11, I think the final score was. Georgia outslugged the Gamecocks there. Charlie Condon breaks the BB-Core all-time home run record. The Bulldogs are plus 105 again at Founders Park, where South Carolina is minus 135. I think you got the same game script that we saw in game 1 happen here on game 2. Both teams exerted a lot of bullpen arms in that game, and I mean, it's just going to be offense in all 3 games. Leighton Finley is slated to start this game for Georgia. He's been their Friday starter for the last couple of weeks. They keep him on the Friday schedule here. They didn't move him up to Thursday. So Finley, the sophomore right-hander this season, is 4-1 with a 4.53 ERA, 54 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 53.2 innings with a 3.58 SIERA. South Carolina is going with Eli Jones again. He's been their game 2 starter for the last 2 weeks now. Roman Kimball has started game 1 the last 2 weeks. I feel like Jones is 3-3 with a 4.53 ERA this season, 46 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 55.2 innings with a 3.84 SIERA. When we get into the heat of or down the stretch of the regular season and then onto the road to Omaha, I really value recent form, especially for pitching, for pitchers in general. And I didn't do this for everybody, but for the notable ones that I've heard buzz about or that I was curious about, I went and looked and pulled up some recent stats that were of importance. And Eli Jones put an asterisk next to this one. He has a 9.95 ERA in his last 5 starts, and it's a 6.20 ERA in SEC play this season. It's not been good lately. So not in great form. And when you're getting a red hot Georgia lineup coming to your place, like, this is not going to be good. This isn't over. This is Georgia money line here. I know Georgia's bullpen's not great with a 7.17, but South Carolina's bullpen just didn't look good either on Thursday, and they've got a 4.61 bullpen ERA there. And Georgia 140 WRC plus. That's 40% better than the average college baseball team in Division I. A 1042 team OPS. They're 7-9 on the road, but again, they won on Thursday. South Carolina 911 team OPS, 119 WRC plus. They usually are very, very good at home, 23-7. All of this on paper tells me I should think that South Carolina's got a good chance to win this. Odds makers think that too. They're making them the favorites here. However, Georgia already showed me on Thursday how this game script's going to go. Eli Jones hasn't been in good form. Give me the Bulldogs here at plus 105. Sorry, my allergies have been really bad today, so they're acting up right now. Mike, you are a real one here. 3:24 a.m. He goes, ooh, Noah's live. Very nice to get some winners. And let's go Charlie Condon. Let's get Charlie Condon to Cleveland at number 1. No, you've not missed it. We're only 3 games into today's show, Mike. No bets yet that I feel comfortable giving out. We've got 2. I have 2 straights that I'm going to give out in a parlay at the end of the show that I've personally already placed money on within the last hour and a half here. Next game that I deem, valid and fun to talk about here is at 6:00 p.m. Duke at Georgia Tech. The Blue Devils are minus 160. The Yellow Jackets plus 124. It's at Russ Chandler Stadium here in Atlanta, Georgia. Duke is going with their Friday night starter, Jonathan Santucci. He's a junior southpaw. 6-1 with a 3.54 ERA, 86 strikeouts, 34 walks, and 56 innings with a 2.75 SIERA. That's a great line. But on the road, he's been awful. He's got a 7.31 ERA in true road games this season. So Jonathan Santucci has been a fade when Duke hits the road. Georgia Tech, I believe they're going with Aiden Vinatieri. That's their projected starter here. Junior right-hander, 5-2 with a 5.31 ERA, 64 strikeouts, 14 walks, 59.1 innings with a 3.09 SIERA. Now, I know that line's not too pretty. It's not sexy. However, he's been the best arm for Georgia Tech, and when you want to bet Georgia Tech is when he's on the mound. That's just when you're going to get the most consistent Georgia Tech team. The offense has been pretty steady throughout the year. However, the pitching has been up and down and all over the place. When he's on the mound, they're the most steady. I like Georgia Tech here at plus 124. Duke, the bullpen's elite. It's a 4.20 bullpen ERA on the weekends, 9.65 team OPS, 127 WRC plus. They're 11-6 on the road. However, Georgia Tech at Russ Chandler, they're 20-9 with a 126 WRC plus, 9.55 team OPS. Completely washes out Duke's offense. And Georgia Tech's bullpen, like I said, it's questionable. It's a 6.24 weekend bullpen ERA, but I think that Georgia Tech's going to be able to get the Jonathan Santucci here. So give me the Yellow Jackets to win this game. The next one is the price that this is the oddball that I included. North Carolina's favored at minus 230 here at home against Louisville, plus 175. I don't agree with this price at all. However, I'm going to pick Louisville to win this game. However, I'm not betting it, and I don't encourage you to, and I'll tell you why. U of L is starting Sebastian Gongora. I've been projecting this the entire season. I'm not a huge fan of Gongora. I've watched him a ton when he was at Wright State throughout his career. The transfer into Louisville, I was like, this is just not going to be great. He's got the induced vertical break fastball that everybody drools over. But in college baseball, when you don't have a bunch of these kids on these launch angle swings, blasting home runs left and right like they attempt to do in the MLB, every swing in the MLB seems to be launch angle, and that's why the induced vertical break works. However, in college baseball, you got more kids with the mindset of I can't put the ball over the fence. I'm not physically able to whenever I want to. So they've got more flattish, leveler swings, and the IVB doesn't play as well. Gongora, I think, has a better chance in the pros, in the farm system, and if he gets to the MLB, I think he's got a better chance, and I would be rooting for him. But I've had a feeling that going into the ACC for sure, where a lot of teams have really good offenses, it was just not going to be able to play. He's got a 7.54 ERA in ACC play compared to a 3.16 Sierra. Under the hood, it looks amazing. However, it doesn't play against great college baseball competition. Going for North Carolina is Jason DeCaro. He's the freshman right-hander, 3-1, 3.86 ERA, 51 strikeouts, 27 walks, and 56 innings pitched with a 4.20 Sierra. And this is the reason why I stay off. Like Gongora, I don't have confidence in him, and I don't have confidence in this Louisville bullpen. 7.58 weekend bullpen ERA this season, but the offense is humming right now. This team has momentum. They are building in the right way, in order. They are taking good steps to try to get in a large bid in the NCAA tournament here. They've got a 945 team OPS, of 124 WRC plus, and they're just 7-8 on the road. So again, that's another thing that's not getting me over to the edge with this, actually putting some money on this team. I'm more likely to, take an over because I think the offense is going to compete in North Carolina. Their offense is very good. 949 team OPS, 123 WRC plus, 28-4 at home at the Bosch this season with a 471 weekend bullpen ERA. So I think North Carolina wins. I don't agree with the minus 230 price at all for what that's worth. So if anything, I love the over in this game. That was all the analysis just to get to the over there. Alfred 44, he said, just catching up. Mike, all right, great to hear, buddy. Thank you guys for joining, and we've had over 46 people tune in so far. It's 3:30 a.m. Eastern right now. Let's see, we got next up on the dock. Let's hit one more ad, and then we're home free for the rest of the show, because we've got 3 straight Big Ten games here that are going to be super fun to talk about. Are you looking to prove that you know ball? What better way to showcase your old school fandom than with some old school gear from a classic team? Royal Retros has jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, sweatshirts, and more from the vintage sports leagues and teams that you know and love. The Dirty Bird, the Orange Crush, or the Sack Exchange all make for sick jerseys for real fans. Use promo code SGPN for 10% off your order today. That's code SGPN at royalretros.com to take 10% off today. Alrighty, we're home free for the rest of this podcast. Like I mentioned, let's talk about some Big Ten baseball, baby. We've got all six teams at the top of the Big Ten standings are playing against each other this weekend. It's going to be so much freaking fun. I will be at this game in person. It's Purdue at Michigan. Currently, Purdue's tied for second in the league. Michigan is sixth, but like I said, there's a logjam. There's 4 teams tied for second here in the Big Ten. Purdue is one of the 4. Michigan, they're technically got the 3rd best record, but currently sitting in 6th in the standings. And who's on top of the standings? I think it's Illinois. I think Illinois is on top of the standings here. Either way, we're going to talk about all 3 games here. I've handicapped all the pitching matchups. Let's go. So Michigan at Ray Fisher Stadium this year, they're 17-11 at home. Purdue's 8-5 on the road. So they've been solid. Michigan's minus 140. That raised my eyebrows immediately. Like, we don't have an ace for what it's worth. Purdue plus 110, they do have, I would say, like, an experienced pitcher. I liked Jordan Morales last year. He had a very, very good start to the season last year, and then he fell off. This year, it's kind of been level throughout. He's sitting there with a 4.39 ERA, 6-3 record. He's a grad senior left-hander, 61 strikeouts, 16 walks, and 67.2 innings with a 3.58 SIERA. The reason why I say that Michigan does not have an ace is because Kurt Barr has earned the Friday night role. He's pitched the best. He's got a 3.03 ERA since March 28th. However, he doesn't miss bats. He's got 42 strikeouts and 67 innings pitched this season, so it's not a true dominant arm, but he's having a breakout year. He's 5-2 on the year, 3.49 ERA, 42 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 67 innings. And that SIERA is not good, of course, because he doesn't miss bats. He gets hit kind of hard. 5.03 SIERA there. But the thing that like would make you favor Michigan here, and why I think the odds makers have Michigan, is because Purdue's bullpen has not been good this season. 7.58 weekend bullpen ERA. The offenses are pretty identical. I mean, the Boilermakers 945 team OPS, Michigan 949, the Wolverines 123 WRC plus, Purdue 124. So like complete wash on the offensive side of the ball. On the mound, bullpen wise, Michigan 471 weekend bullpen ERA. They've just been able to mix and match. Tracy Smith does an amazing job with what he's got. And it's been solid for Michigan this year. Honestly, I think Michigan wins this game, and I'll be there tomorrow. We haven't lost this season when I've been in attendance at Ray Fisher Stadium. We're looking to keep it that way. The next game in the Big Ten that is very, very important. It's going to be a very, very fun season, though, or very fun series to watch this weekend. It's the preseason favorite Iowa Hawkeyes, who minus 140 at Illinois, who's plus 110. Guys, I'm taking the fight in the Illini here. This is the first bet of the show. Give me Illinois plus 110 at home. They're 21-4 at Illinois Field this season. Iowa 8-11 on the road. That bullpen can't play on the road. I don't know what it is, but they just fall apart late in games. Starting for Iowa is Cade Obermuller, sophomore left-hander, son of MLBer. He's 3-2 on the year, 3.75 ERA, 56 strikeouts, 33 walks, 48 innings there with a 4 flat SIERA. Going for Illinois is their ace, Jack Crowder, senior right-hander. He's 5-1 on the year, 5.07 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 65.2 innings, 4.44 SIERA. So it's not ace-like stuff, but I mean, I just watched him pitch against Wake Forest early in the year, and for some reason, like, I've labeled him an ace since. Maybe it's not ace stuff because Wake Forest offense isn't tremendous like we thought they were going to be in early in the year, but Crowder's been Illinois' best pitcher. The bullpens, they're pretty much the same here. Iowa dealing with a 692. 692 weekend bullpen ERA. Illinois with a 640. But Illinois' offense is much better. 942 team OPS, 123 WRC plus. Iowa dealing with an 867 team OPS, 111 WRC plus. And like I said, the biggest thing here for me, the biggest difference was the home and road splits. Illinois 21-4 at home, Iowa 8-11 on the road. Give me Illinois here at plus money. This is going to close minus money for sure. All right. Next game, final Big Ten game that we're going to talk about. I know, like, probably all of the Southeastern baseball fans their ears are bleeding listening to this Michigan resident talk about college baseball. But the Big Ten, I mean, it's a shit league, but I mean, when everybody at the top of the standings are playing in one weekend, like you have to be drooling over this, especially with betting odds. Like, we have to talk about this. Indiana plus 114 at Nebraska minus 145. This is being played at Haymarket Park, where Nebraska's 14-5 on the year. Indiana, though, 12-6 on the road. They've been great. But Nebraska probably has the Big Ten pitcher of the year if the season ends today. There's not a guy that comes to mind who's been better than Brett Sears, the senior right-hander for Nebraska. He's 6-0 with a 2.18 ERA, 77 strikeouts, 15 walks, and 78.1 innings with a 291 SIERA. Dominant. Indiana's going with Ty Bothwell, the grad left-hander, 6-2, 5.46 ERA, 62 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 61 innings with a 3.51 Sierra. Indiana's bullpen's a little bit worse than Nebraska's 5.89 weekend bullpen ERA there for the Hoosiers. Nebraska dealing with only a 4.27. So, and the offense, it's a little bit worse than Indiana, but I really value the thought that Sears is going to go 7. Nebraska comes out and brings out 2 of their best from the pen, maybe just one guy to get the final couple of innings here. And the Cornhuskers wrap this game 1 up against Indiana. But just to finish off the handicap here, Indiana 895 team OPS, 114 WRC plus. Nebraska is not much worse at 851 team OPS, 107 WRC plus. I think they'll be able to hang. This is going to be a low scoring game. Nebraska wins this one. This is also going to be one of my favorite bets here for tomorrow. Give me Nebraska at minus 145. Alfred 44, Wake Forest fan. He goes, Wake can make a lot of pitchers look like aces. That's a good point. They've been better as of late, though. They have ever since kind of Nick Kurtz came back healthy and was hitting the second time around. After like the 7th week, they've really the Demon Deacons have really kind of turned it on. 7:00 p.m. start. If it wasn't for Vanderbilt's recent just pitfall, this would have been like my favorite series of the week, but right now it's Clemson Wake Forest, and you can't top that. I can't wait to watch that Clemson Wake Forest series. I think Clemson's got a great shot to go in to the couch and win it. However, at the beginning of the season, I was bullish on Tennessee, bearish on Vanderbilt, and my gut, my head is telling me to flip my opinion here. Both of the futures have basically hit. Vanderbilt has hit. Tennessee just needs one more win to cash my over, which was my largest preseason prediction or preseason position entering this college baseball season. So, like, I don't have any rooting interest in this game. I feel like this is just a back against the wall moment for Vanderbilt against their in-state rival. That's how I feel about this series. Vanderbilt is on the brink of missing the NCAA tournament if they continue to just falter like this. They're plus 114 here. I don't think it's a great price to play them. Tennessee minus 145. I think if you get the early number here, that's a smart bet. But my gut's telling me that I think Vandy's going to be. I think they're going to be game this weekend. Let's go through the handicap. Tennessee, they're going with that piggyback that they've gone on Fridays. Chris Stamos, the grad left-hander, is going to open the game 3-0 on the year, 3.32 ERA, 22 strikeouts, 10 walks, and 21.2 innings with a 3.72 Sierra. And then coming in for Tennessee will be the low slot right-hander AJ Causey. He's a junior. He's 7-3 on the year, 4.12 ERA, 78 strikeouts, 13 walks, and 59 innings pitched with a 2.20 Sierra. So both of these guys have been very, very good this season. And that duo has worked out amazingly for Causey. Stamos will go 1 or 2 innings. Causey comes in for 6 or 7, and the game's pretty much over. But like I said, I think Vanderbilt's going to be game this weekend. And a main reason here for the Friday game is Bryce Cunningham, junior right-hander for Vanderbilt. He's 6-3, 4.36 ERA, 77 strikeouts, 25 walks in 64 innings pitched this season with a 2.99 Sierra. That line right there, it's good. However, the splits are extreme with this guy. I went and looked because the buzz had been last week that when he hits the road, he's been really, really bad this year. I went and got that. I went and dug that up, and it's true. He's got a 9 flat ERA in road games this season. When they're road SEC games, it's an 11.60 ERA or 11.60 ERA. It's brutal. However, at home, this guy's untouchable. 1.93 home ERA for Bryce Cunningham. It's incredible. That's like the most extreme split that I've come across in the 3 years doing this. It's kind of crazy. At this high of a level of college baseball in the SEC, at a program like Vanderbilt where they just breed elite pitching, Cunningham just can't do it on the road. Tennessee's bullpen, it's really good. It's like top 10 in the country. With a 393 weekend bullpen ERA. Vanderbilt's, it's not as great, 613, but I'm expecting Cunningham to go deep into this one. Tennessee's offense, I mean, when you just look all around on paper in this matchup, it's going to favor Tennessee. That minus 145 is a great price. Like I said, my gut is just telling me that Vanderbilt has a shot. Tennessee 1057 OPS, 143 WRC plus compared to Vanderbilt's mediocre 845 team OPS, 104 WRC plus. Tennessee 9-5 on the road. That's a solid road record. Their competition hasn't been amazing, but Vanderbilt 29-6 at home. Again, competition hasn't been amazing, but that is an amazing home record there for Vanderbilt. Like I said, from the very beginning, at this price, I'm not playing Vanderbilt. If people hammer this Tennessee game up to like a minus 190 and I'm able to get like Vanderbilt at plus 150, that's when I'd start to exercise some thoughts on playing the Doors. But as of right now, it's anchored down as in like, please no, like as in a thumbs down, not as a good chant way for the Vandy boys there. We got the chat rolling along here. I'm checking in. Mike, he goes, us Big Ten fans are happy on the good old Midwestern talk. Alfred 44 said they definitely hit a better stride going to get, he thinks Wake Forest is going to get that Clemson series. And then they're talking about whether Alfred went to Wake or not. He went to UNCW, who's also having a very, very solid season this year. The Seahawks are right now slated probably as an at-large bid. So shout out to those UNCW Seahawks. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we're going to wrap up the 10 series here that I've highlighted for today's show with Mississippi State plus 220 at Arkansas minus 298. This is also a disrespectful price. I forgot about this one at the very end of the show. Disrespectful for sure. I mean, I think Arkansas wins. I mean, we all know that Hagen Smith is on the mound. However, Mississippi State's got Cal Steven, who's been outstanding and also in the running for SEC Pitcher of the Year with Hagen Smith. Steven, he's a junior right-hander. He's 7-3 on the year, 296 ERA, 79 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 70 innings with a 278 Sierra. It's elite. It's been dominant. Hagen Smith, on the other hand, is like another freaking level. Junior left-hander, 9-0, 136 ERA, 125 strikeouts, only 25 walks, and 66 innings pitched with a 0.83 Sierra. This is an under. When you have two average offenses with two elite starting pitching, I would take an under at like 7.5 in this game. Mississippi State's weekend bullpen ERA, it's good with a 4.68 ERA. Arkansas's, it's elite with a 4.14. Like I said, both offenses are pretty average. Mississippi State 847 OPS, Arkansas 834 team OPS, and Hail State 104 WRC plus, and the Hogs have a 103 WRC plus. The thing here that like you can't you can't back Mississippi State here. Arkansas is 33-2 at Baum Walker this season, and Mississippi State, they're just 8-7 on the road. So the price is ridiculous. For the side, I wouldn't even. This is another weekend where I'm like hesitant to put Arkansas into a money line parlay. If anything, I would be looking at like a Mississippi State plus 2.5 in this game, because I think this is a low scoring game. I think this is like 4-2 ball game here, 3-1, and Arkansas gets the win and the under comes in, and that's another win and under with Hagen Smith on the mound. That would now become, I think, 11-2 if it happens. If it does not, it would be 10-3. It's still just a ridiculous little system there for sure. One easy way to make money in college baseball. And that wraps up the specific series that I'm talking about here on today's show. Mike asks, do you think we should stay off of Tennessee, or if it stays at minus 145, is it worth jumping on or staying off of it? See on Vandy. In my opinion, if you get the early price on Tennessee minus 145, I think that is the most optimal play for sure. I I think that's an amazing price. I think it's a little bit low. I think what's going to happen tomorrow is that a lot of people are going to hit Tennessee because they're the number one team in the country. A lot of people view them as the best team right now, currently. The way I view it is just the other top teams took losses last weekend, and it was a real opportune time for the Volunteers to become the new number one team. And Vanderbilt, like I said, the motivation is going to be there against an in-state rival, backs against the wall. My opinion, my play on this game would be that if Vanderbilt creeps up into the plus 145, plus 150 range, and Tennessee goes all the way to like a minus 190, minus 200, that's when I would play this game, and I'd play Vanderbilt. However, I'm probably just going to stay away from Tennessee here because I think there's only two ways that you play this game. You play Tennessee at minus 145, or you play Vanderbilt at like a plus 145 type price. All right. So before I recap and then give out the podcast parlay today, let's finish off with mentioning at least the 11.7 Pick'em series that we have here. We have a top 15 series between this might be top 20 series. NC State's at Virginia. No pitching has been announced publicly via game notes and game previews here for this series. So I felt really uncomfortable if I just included it. It's going to be a great series. It's two highly ranked teams, two fun offenses. However, I mean, there's no pitching confirmed. I could tell you the guys who have started on Fridays the last couple of weeks in a row. But again, I think NC State with that 5-11 record, it's just not going to play. I think Virginia wins the series. I'll give you my honest picks for all of these. Do I want to? I still think I have to hold them. No, I'm gonna give. Can't believe it. I'm rethinking this live. Mike asks, I've always wanted to ask, what is the pick'em? I have no idea, but I bet I'd love it. So in the preseason, 11.7, which is another college baseball podcast, I get along with those guys, Ben Upton, Demeter Curtis, Jack DeLongshaw. This is the second year that they've ran it. In the preseason, they send out like their Patreon, where it's because they're 11.7, it's an $11.70 charge each month. It's basically like the Circa football contest when you're picking 5 games against the spread for the entire season, and then it's rankings. So basically, they, instead of allowing you to pick 5 games straight up, they pick 6 coin flip series that you have to pick each week, and they tally it all up. There's like over 100 people in this year's pool. Right now, I'm sitting in 6th, 4 games out of first place. Currently in first place is Quentin Mills of the College Baseball Insiders, another one of my buddies. He goes, all good on rethinking. We're in the friendly confines of us usual / loyal friends, as they say in old school, trust the tree. Yeah, I would say I agree. However, a lot of those guys that are paying to be in the contest are pretty plugged in, and they see me on that leaderboard, and I think they tune into the show. And I have to play leverage. So unfortunately, I've given out my picks the entire year. Do I change it up? I'm going to give out who I think wins the series. That's what I'm going to do. It's not going to be my actual picks for the pool. I'm going to give out who I think wins the series. I think Virginia beats NC State. The next series on here is Clemson at Wake Forest. The couch is a tiny ass fucking ballpark. And like I said, I gave out a couple of trends on both Chase Burns and Ethan Darden's been solid. He's recently been moved into the Friday role here for Clemson, and it hasn't been amazing for Darden lately. I think Wake Forest wins the series. Indiana at Nebraska. Nebraska is winning game 1. They have the ace pitching advantage in game 1. And I trust Nebraska to get across the finish line in games 2 and 3 at home against Indiana. Indiana's got a better offense. It's not marginally better, but they've got the better offense, and they should be live in games 2 and 3. However, I think Nebraska wins that series. Fairfield at Nebraska. Fairfield's got a losing record on the road. Niagara a winning record at home. Niagara a better pitching team. Fairfield, they've got a couple of bombers in the lineup there. I think Niagara does it. I think they've had the better season overall. They've knocked off a couple of high major teams this year too. So Northeastern at Charleston. My play here is Charleston. And I think that's going to be leverage against the field, which is shitty to give out that I'm on here. Even if it's not even leverage, this would be my pick straight up to win this series. Charleston's been the better team this year. Northeastern's been pretty disappointing. The pitching has been very disappointing. The two stars in that lineup, Maldonado and Sirota, haven't played to their capabilities this season. I think most of the public's going to be on the Huskies tomorrow and for the weekend. So I think Charleston wins that series. And the final one, Samford at UNCG. Give me Samford. They've been the cream of the crop in the SoCon lately. And they've played pretty good competition this season. Not saying that UNCG hasn't, but Samford's been able to go on the road consistently and win some games. They've got the better pitching staff, better hitting than UNCG. I think the Bulldogs get it done. That's also the top seed versus the second seed in the SoCon right now in the current regular season standings. The rest of the interesting games, interesting series to watch, especially if you plan on betting postseason NCAA tournament college baseball, you want to have familiarity with some of these teams that will be in that tournament. Kennesaw, Jacksonville, those are two of the top teams in the ASUN. That ASUN conference tournament is going to be the one that I have circled the most out of any of the mid majors. Whoever comes out of the ASUN is going to be very fucking dangerous in the NCAA tournament. You got Austin Peay, who's got the best offense in the country. Stetson, who's got a legit pitching staff. Jacksonville, who's got a legit pitching staff. And Kennesaw State, who took 2 of 3 against Kentucky on the road. And then they also murdered the shit out of Clemson early in the season too. So Kennesaw State can play. All 4 of those teams can play. That's going to be a very fun tournament to watch. And they do a really cool format too. It's 8 teams, 2 pool play, or 2 pools. The first pool is first through 4 seeds. So you're playing each of each other once during the week. And what it does is it ups each team's RPI. So it's a super cool, fun idea. And all you have to do in that pool is just don't go 0-3, because the bottom team gets eliminated. And in the pool that contains the 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds, the winner of that pool then advances to the weekend, and then it's semifinals, single elimination. Whoever won the top pool plays the team with the worst record, either from the bottom pool or the top pool, and the 2 middle teams play each other. Both winners go to the championship in the ASUN. Super fun conference tournament. The next one is Dayton and St. Louis, the top 2 teams in the A10 currently. That one's going to be super fun. The Flyers and the Billikens there. Xavier at Georgetown. Xavier currently with aspirations of being an at-large team. Georgetown's probably on the outside looking in, but Georgetown is up there in the Big East standings. So that's a very fun series to look for. Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech are the top 2 teams in Conference USA. Yes, Dallas Baptist is in that conference, but these 2 teams have actually beaten Dallas Baptist in weekend series this year. So that one's going to be fun. Hilltoppers and Bulldogs there at the Love Shack. The last competitive opponent that Indiana State has on their schedule this season is Evansville. They get them for 3 games. It's going to be in Terre Haute, though. In the Mountain West, we have the second place team against the third place team. That's Nevada and New Mexico, respectively. This is going to be in New Mexico. In the Southland, the top 2 teams are playing each other. Lamar at Nichols State. Lamar needs every win they can get to be a at-large team. Currently, they're probably on the outside looking in, but They hold a 3-game sweep in the regular season over Oklahoma. That one's going to be really close. Their RPI is going to get tanked when they play all these Southland games coming up in the next 2 weeks, and they just can't afford any more dumb losses, because I think they had one over the weekend that completely crippled their RPI. Louisiana, the top team in the Sun Belt, hits the road again. They take on Georgia Southern. Louisiana Raging Cajuns have been falling apart lately. They played a lot of the weaker teams in the Sun Belt early on in the year. Now they've faced the gauntlet and they've looked, pedestrian. Georgia Southern, the 3 seed, they're currently in the Sun Belt. So that one's an interesting one. And then the top 2 teams in the WAC, Abilene Christian at Grand Canyon. That's going to be a fun series as well. Matt Whitehead jumps into the YouTube chat. He goes, Oklahoma State did the poke choke last weekend. Once they got too much attention, it's choke time. Oh, man, I love that program, but that is true. Are you an Oklahoma State fan? Because that sounds just like that pain too well. Mike goes, full slate of games tomorrow are up on Hard Rock already. I can't believe it. 1 p.m. through the West Coast late nights. Yeah, I mean, everybody just follows DraftKings. So, like, once DraftKings comes out, they all kind of trickle out. BetMGM and FanDuel are usually right after DraftKings. It's just hilarious how quickly and just obvious that they'll just take 5 cents a vig from the DraftKings lines. Matt Whitehead says 3 a.m. You're a beast. Thanks for the content. Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do it, right? we're pioneering things. And hey, like, I'm a young kid still, 20 in my low 20s. Like, I can be up till 3 or 4 a.m. if this is the only job that I'm doing. Like, a lot of people view it as it's a fun job. I agree, it is a fun job, but also it's college baseball is a super niche sport. You got to do a ton of work to find the stats that you need to handicap these ball games. I got nothing better to do. I'll deliver them all, and I just need odds. Without odds, there's no show. Like I said, I don't want to talk about games that are priced in the 200s. And I said on the show that I feel really good about Virginia, but Virginia's in the 200s. Or I feel really good about Arkansas. That would be a better example. Like Arkansas, for some reason, they're almost minus 300 here. And that's a really, really solid pitching matchup. There's just no reason it should be minus 300. And if I didn't have betting odds, I'd be like, yeah, Arkansas is going to be a great bet tomorrow. Cal Steven and Hagen Smith, they're going to be priced pretty much at like a minus 150, plus 170, plus 125, 130 there. I would love Arkansas. Well, I mean, shit. Arkansas is minus 298. What the fuck? All right, so let's recap. My 2 favorite bets for tomorrow of the games that we talked about on the show come from the Big Ten. Yes, I was drooling all over these games because 1, they're going to be fun. 2, they're also in my area. I get 1 weekend of the year to talk about Big Ten baseball, and it's this weekend. Illinois plus 110 at Illinois Field. 21-4 at home this season. Iowa 8-11 on the road. That does it for me here. With Illinois, Nebraska, Big Ten pitcher of the year, Brett Sears on the bump against Indiana, who, Nebraska's got the pitching edge 100%. Sears is going to go 6 or 7 deep. Nebraska's bullpen is elite, 4.27 ERA there, and they're 14-5 at home. Minus 145, you're going to get a good CLV on that one, I would think. That one will close around minus 160, minus 170. Illinois is going to close as the favorite. If not favorite, they'll close minus 110, minus 115. Pretty much coin flippy with Iowa. And then the podcast parlay, the thing that I've held on to for the entire show here. Give me Texas A&M. They're at Ole Miss. I think with Ryan Prager on the mound, they're not going to lose that game 1 against Ole Miss. An offense that has been, they have the ability to string some hits together and put up some runs. However, they can't pitch it. And when you can't pitch it and you have one of the best offenses coming to town in Texas A&M, the recipe is there for losing the series, losing the opener. I have Texas A&M winning game 1. I also like Oregon State hosting UCLA. Game 1 here, Aiden May against Luke Jarrett. What's this? Why am I forgetting his name? It's Jarrett something. Damn it. Now I've put myself into the pickle and I have to go find it. It is Luke Jewett for UCLA. That's their Friday night guy. I haven't been too impressed with him. Aiden May is significantly better at home. Oregon State's offense significantly better at home at Goss Stadium there. I like Oregon State to win game 1. So the A&M moneyline parlay with Oregon State, it's minus 106. Good luck to those who tail. And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in to the college experience. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball. You better start thinking about yours. Adios, amigos.